She got it. All right, here we go. Kyle Fitzgerald here with our afternoon workshops at Halifax. Talking about double resistance, then we threw in a little bit of footwork training at the end there. So double resistance, the idea. We started with some historical double resistance. So how it works is we use A frame and B frame, sending our pitch. For those of you who don't know pitch, actually I'll add this in. 4 P's, okay? So you got pitch, posture, poise, and position. Okay, position is foot position, right? All your ballet positions, right? Pitch is the relationship of your shoulders to your hips. Poise is the relationship of your hips to the balls of your feet. And then posture is the relationship of your spine to the rest of your body. Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. Cool. So we were sending our pitch backwards to create what's called a V frame, right? And then sending our pitch forward to create what's called an A frame, right? This is the historical roots of double resistance. To modernize it, we added in the position of our feet and then adding in the poise as well, where as we were coming forward, we used all of the balance points in our body to create stretch and compression, right? This is a commitment of weight without a commitment of balance. So if I let go, we're completely balanced. Whereas in V-frame, if I were to let go, I would have to catch myself. So some of the patterns that we use, right? This is a dance of opposition. So as we were going for an underarm pass, the leaders called for compression on their 4 by pitching themselves forward in a bit of a press line. Followers, if you can catch on this angle, you can match that, and we can go into a double resistance from here. So you'll notice that the counting for this, it was 4 and then away for 5, 6, 7, 8. We moved away for 1 and then we syncopated and 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Followers are tripling twice. From here we did a cutoff whip, right? Arcing around and then catching the point of balance on the shoulder, from which we went, sorry, this is 4, 5, we countered away on 6, in which case we did a double resistance going diagonal this way. Right? The actual feet doesn't matter too much, it's more about the spacing, in which case after we went away from each other, I presented the window and sent the followers away on an arc, from which case followers, to fill that space, I also want you going out on an arc. Can you just quickly do that for me? You did it right, but I just want to show you again. So as we go through here, I'm sent around on this arc, and I continue the arc to fill space going outwards. Where going straight out will lead in a drop-in connection as I move, which I don't want. Is there anything else in the double resistance that was important? Let's quickly go over the 10 points of balance. So you got the 2 balls of the feet, 2 sides of the hip, both palms, both shoulders, head, and rib cage. We're always thinking of connecting a point of balance to a point of balance. So in the closed position, leaders, we connect our palm to the follower's shoulder. Don't want to go here because this is restrictive. This is middle school dance, right? Up here. So from here, to get into that closed position to start, actually, I took the hand, I turned it slightly out to create an angle in the follower's body, and then I always match the follower's angle. From here, I'm thinking about creating a system of arcs, right? Even if I talked about this in the last class, it's still important for our workshop before sending them out. Yes, yes, yes? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. All right, continuing. Talk a little bit about footwork. Okay, we talked about the delayed weight transfer on the stretch. Right, so as we're moving away from each other, right, just B square for now, on the stretch, we want to take our time getting there with that step backwards. Super important. If it's a full step or a full weight transfer, 0 to 100, it turns into a chain. Right? Don't want that. Delayed weight transfer, take your time. Now, the elastic system, the method that we use to create and redirect momentum in this dance, involves a stretch of the bodies moving away, a rotation, and then lastly an arc. So the arc actually happens in the body where we lead away from, the followers lead away from the hips, and then as they place their weight, they push up into the shoulders to lead forward, where the leaders do the opposite. They start from the shoulders and then move down into the hips to lead away. Right? This then goes directly into the 3 principles of movement, which is, foot movement, where my center defines my leg, my non-weighted foot defines my direction, and my weighted foot drives my center towards non-weighted foot. Because if I go into this stretch and I hang my foot in front of me, I'm going to fall into the step. Whereas if I get my non-weighted foot behind me, I'll immediately be able to land it and stabilize. Right? For the followers, we talked about the lack of a non-full leg swing action. right? Full leg swing that the leaders get, followers don't have this. So some ways that you can compensate with it are A, don't partake in the knee bending or the walking mechanic. Whereas if you go straight back, this is the Brandy Gill. Keep the legs straight, and then when you're sent forward, you can just go, right? Brandy personally did it with a toe lead. Oops, that's not a toe lead. Right? Brandy does it with a toe lead, but you can absolutely take this and do a toe release. I don't care. It's up to you. The next is the Debra-Seike. This is the one I personally prefer, where you would take this back on a 45. Right? Deborah likes to say line up with the hip, but honestly the distance is always relative to the partner for me. So line up with the hip. This then in turn gives your leg somewhere to go to transition to create more of a leg swing action. The last one was the Courtney Adair, in which she actually creates a full leg swing action by going straight sideways so that technically her right leg is behind her. So from here she'll collect underneath and get that full leg swing action going into their one. I personally prefer the Debra-Seike as the constant, and then using the Courtney Adair and the Brandy Gill as variables. But it's up to you to do what suits you best.